Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Here in the far back corners, can you hear me well? Still more? Can you hear it? I can see that. Alright, this is probably going to throw you off, I bet. Alright, I'm going to talk a little bit. Can you guys, how's this, guys? Is that better in the back? Okay. My name's Jeff Garvis. For those of you that don't know, no, I can't even talk. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Jeff Garvis, and I'm the president of Ohioans for Concealed Carry. On behalf of Dan and Brian Torok, I'd like to welcome you to the 6th annual Party in the Park and our 10th year as Ohioans for Concealed Carry. I'd like to thank all of you for coming out in this horrible weather, and because we don't know what it's going to turn into, we're going to try to go through things as quickly as we can. We've already taken Brian out of the schedule. Seeing as this is our 10th anniversary, I actually did some digging and I found some interesting stuff that I think is going to entertain some of you, especially if you weren't around 10 years ago when we started Ohioans for Concealed Carry. To start, I'll explain to you why I created OFCC. Brian over here, if you could wave so everybody knows who I'm referring to. Brian and I are the two remaining original incorporating board members of OFCC. The other one was Travis Fasco. He was a coworker and a good friend of mine, and such a good friend that he came today. Just can't find him. Travis is a great friend. He was the best man at my wedding. The three of us created OFCC, and it basically became basically something that was driven out of being frustrated. People like Brian introduced me to shooting and firearms, and a mutual friend of ours back then showed me the quote in the Constitution in Ohio that says the people have the right to bear arms for their defense and security. Unless you get caught, then it's a felony. And this really got me fired up, and being an internet geek and a Unix person and working in the industry, I started looking online to see who in Ohio was doing something about this. And unfortunately, I couldn't find anyone. I found people in Kentucky, I found KC3, and I found Michigan's Michigan Coalition for Responsible Gun Owners, and I saw how successful they were, and I thought, oh, this will be great. I'll create something in Ohio and get a bunch of friends. And since then, Brian has revealed that he thought it probably would last only a couple months before I lost interest. And I'm glad that I didn't live up to that expectation. And most of you know what we've done probably in the past 3, 4, maybe 6 years. Some of you, who was here for the first picnic 6 years ago? See, that's great. That is excellent. Before I move on to how this all started, I'd like to just give credit. I told you about Travis Fasco. I haven't told you about Greg Kopp. He was another good friend of mine, and he actually helped design all of our initial websites and played a huge role in us being so successful. But basically, I thought, the group in Kentucky collected 20,000 signatures. How hard could that be to do in Ohio? We'll just do that and they'll pass it off. It'll be that easy. And it wasn't. It didn't happen like that. But this is something that I did some digging over the past week. I got on the internet and looked at my emails, and I dug back into 1999. And I wrote this to a discussion list on something that used to be called One List, and now it's referred to as Yahoo Groups. I'm visiting Columbus 4 times over the next 2 weeks. Does anyone know any specific representatives' offices I should visit? That was the first email I could find with my interest in this issue. That was April 16th of 1999. By May 23rd, I wrote an email to that mailing list saying, a few weeks ago I hit kc3.com and was surprised at what they've accomplished. 2 friends and I decided to start a group called Ohioans for Concealed Carry. I've been keeping this group quiet until some of the behind-the-scenes issues were solved. It appears we're needed in Columbus immediately. I believe representatives in Columbus will vote in our favor should we present them with 20,000 or more petitions. And if you were around back then, you know that just didn't do it. By June 1st, we issued an announcement saying we are a nonprofit organization and that we are petitioning the legislature and Bob Taft because we felt that the current laws violated the Constitution and that we felt that it was wrong that an offender needed to be arrested and use an affirmative defense and to assume that that individual was prudent. By July 10th, we created something called CCW Talk and Gun Talk. These were email-based discussion lists, which have been since replaced with the web-based Ohio CCW forums. By August 13th of that year, Thomas Lucente of the Lyman News began writing editorials about us in favor of our cause. By October 1st, the NRA-ILA announced Ohioans for Concealed Carry in their Friday fax alert. A new group has been formed to support efforts to pass right to carry. OFCC is a grassroots organization that is gathering petitions in support of House Bill 165, never passed. To find out more about the organization, visit their website. So, quite quickly, we started attracting a lot more attention than I've ever really realized. By November of that first year, the Ohio State University's Buckeye State poll came out and said everybody in Ohio wanted to have the right to carry a gun. I think a couple weeks later, the Ohio poll out of Cincinnati came out and said the exact opposite. By November of '99, we began our fun efforts with Mike Trevisano of WTAM. If you are familiar with Northern Ohio, Mike is like the shock jock of talk radio and complete arrogant person who just makes ratings by being an arrogant person.
Go true!
He has been completely opposed to us. He has called us all kinds of names, and although I can't prove it, I've been told that he's probably a closet gun owner. By November of that year, we began seeing the effects of the Pat Feely arrest, which eventually led to the Klein versus Sheriff Lee's lawsuit, which was our first litigation that took us to the Ohio Supreme Court eventually. But, as you may or may not know, House Bill 165 died. So like most of the concealed carry legislation, it didn't make it anywhere. And Bob Taft came out with something that he called House Bill 526. It was legislation to force you to store your gun the way he wanted you to store it. We started calling it the Taft Burglar Protection Bill. I've come up with a new name for it. The new name is OFCC made a name for itself. We used that legislation to oppose and defeat him, even though he actually made the unusual move of coming to a committee hearing and speaking in favor of it, and we successfully defeated him. Later, in January of 2000, we started our automatic alert system, or letter creating system to let you write your reps. Within a couple months of creating this system, it lets you go into our website, type a letter up, and it mailed who your representative was based on your zip code. Within 2 or 3 months of that, we had friends in the legislature calling us, asking us to take their name out of it. They couldn't handle the email. By February and March, we started working shows like the IX Center's outdoor...
OGCA.
No, this is the outdoor show.
Oh, the outdoor show.
The outdoor show. We were doing gun shows forever, just collecting signatures. By March, we started setting up Burma shape signs. Unfortunately, that hasn't been something we've maintained, but the Burma shape signs basically used to have a catchy phrase on them, and they go along the highway. We've never been able to find a plot of land long enough to do that, so we've usually set up just a single sign. But they were very effective. By June of 2000, Eric Fingerhut got behind Taft's effort to ban or to prohibit you from storing a gun unless it was the way he wanted you to do it. He set up a website called gunsafetyohio.com. Being an internet experienced person, I decided to go out and snipe gunsafetyohio.org, and we mocked his website by mirroring it and then pointing out how every single point he made was wrong. The Columbus Dispatch wrote a story on it called Dueling Websites, and we later heard that got so far under his skin that it partially led to him giving up on it. By February of 2001, we had 37,500 signatures, and unfortunately that's the last time we ever tried to count them. By March of 2001, we started boycotting WTAM advertisers, and Trevisano started complaining about it on the air. In 2001, the NRA we partially endorsed for some period of time House Bill 274. In the end, we decided not to endorse it, and we actually ended up being the organization that killed it because it wouldn't allow you to carry in a vehicle at all.